Hi everyone! Today I want to share a card we made at Stamp Camp on Saturday, and it uses the Ginkgo Branch stamp set, which is in the mini catalog. I love ginkgos, but I bought this set mostly because my sister loves ginkgos. She has a fondness for ginkgos because she says they're a symbol of strength, and I didn't look this up to make sure it's true, but she she says that the ginkgo tree is one of the few species of trees that survived after Hiroshima, the bomb in Hiroshima during the war. So she says that the ginkgos are a symbol of strength, and so she has a ginkgo leaf necklace, and she has a ginkgo tattoo, and so does her daughter. So anyway, I thought I would get this and I can use this stamp set for when I make cards for my sister and my niece. Anyway, Ginkgo Branch is super pretty and the dies are gorgeous. So I'm going to show you the dies real quick and then we'll make the card. You've got a die that cuts out the stamped images, and there are 3 different stamped images, but look at these two. These are kind of like detail ginkgo leaves, and they're just super cute. I know that my daughter and I, there's a ginkgo tree a few blocks away, and I love when they turn yellow in the fall. The leaves turn a really pretty yellow, and to me they've always looked like skirts, like little fairy skirts. And we have an acorn tree, and we've kind of played around with making them into little fairies. They don't last very long, but they're fun. Anyway, super cute ginkgo branch. I love it, and I just thought this stamp set was gorgeous. So we're going to make this card, and I want to show you a few different ways. Hopefully you can catch this detail in the video, but we're going to take just a little bit of ink and an aqua painter or water painter and add some detail to the branch, and we're going to do it so simple and fast. It's going to be just boop. And I just love all these little details on this card, the ripped edge, the little ginkgo, the vellum. I'll show you all about it. Okay, let's get started. So here is how Stamp Camp arrives. And I cut pieces that don't need stamping. I cut ahead of time because there's usually 14 or so people at Stamp Camp, and I don't want it to be a line of people at the die cut machine. So these are already cut out. And here's that die that I was just showing you. Let's see if I can put it on a different background. That's too busy with the light. There, now you can see it better. Okay, so it's got these really, some of them are cut out, some of them are solid. So pretty. And then this one I cut out in distressed gold paper, and that is that pattern I just showed you. It's called distressed gold, so it's not a solid. It's got darks and lights, and it's really pretty. Now this one, as well as this vellum, see how it's got a newsprint on them? Those are found in the specialty papers page, which often gets overlooked. And I wanted to show you, if you have a catalog, it's on this page. And there's so many specialties. This tiny vellum, I feel like gets overlooked. And this vellum is what we're using. It's the newsprint, and it comes in 3 different patterns. And you get a white version and a black version. Let's see if I have any out. I don't know if you can see it on this particular. Hard to see in film, I'm sure, but, or not film, but video. Anyway, there's a pattern on that. So you get the same one in both a white and black versions, and then you get newsprint. The print is here is black, and you can get another one in white. And then there was a 3rd pattern, which is maps, and I think I've used all that up. But it's real pretty, and I'm hoping that carries over into the next catalog. I don't know if you know this, but we're getting a new catalog soon. Us demonstrators are like 3 days away from getting to see it online. We can order it in like a week, but we can see it online in 3 days. Very exciting. Anyway, I'm hoping the vellum continues on because it's really pretty, and I didn't get a chance to use it too much in my videos, so I thought I would use it today. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to tear the sides of all of our pieces of cardstock. So I've got a card base in soft seafoam, and then this piece is 5 1/4 by 4, but we're going to tear the edge. I think I probably made it 3 3/4 because I want to add this little bit of pear pizzazz. So, and I'm going to add this little bit of pear pizzazz to the front. So we're going to tear. These are just scraps that I found in my pear pizzazz bag. So we're going to tear those. And then these I cut also 5 1/4 is the length, and then the width here, it's going to vary a little bit. I think I cut them at, let's see, 3 inches. This is 3 1/4, so this is probably 3 1/2, 3 1/2. There you go. And then these are just scraps, and we're going to glue them to the back. Okay, so let's tear. Now, I don't know if you tear a lot. Vellum is a little harder to tear than you think, and I'm going to make sure that I can read the words. They're not upside down. Okay, there we go. If you tear towards you, the side here is going to have like a more of a fluffy edge, maybe a white edge if you're not using a solid core paper. Our paper is solid core, Stampin' Up. So that means that the color goes all the way through. If you're using a non-solid core paper, when you tear, there's going to be white there. Vellum is kind of clear, so that's not going to be as big of a deal, but it's going to be a little different. You've got kind of a fluffy side and a not so fluffy side. So I've got the fluffy side up, and I'm going to continue that with the fluffy side up. Sometimes you might not want the fluffy side. What I mean by fluffy is just the fibers of the paper are more fluffy. So I'm going to continue tearing, and I stay pretty close. You know, I don't usually go crazy. You can also put a ruler down and tear. I just like to tear this way. Okay, and I'm going to lay them on top of each other and see that I got enough space. I do, and I have my fluffy sides up. See how, I'm going to see if you can see the difference. That's the non-fluffy side. I mean, yes, it's got a jagged edge, but this one has like texture layers. You can see layers of paper, and I don't know if that's going to come through on the video, but anyway. All right, now these are scraps. The skinny one's going to be a little harder to tear because it's so skinny. Some people at class got a thicker one like this, and maybe I should have used it. And then you could just tear it in half and use, you know, one side, or one side for the inside and one side for the outside of the card. But I'm going to use the skinny one. Maybe you can see the texture here that I'm talking about. Fluffy side, non-fluffy side. And sometimes you want the non-fluffy side. This time I want the fluffy side. I need another one. All right, and one more. Okay, so for the inside, I wanted to just put a simple little ginkgo, and I'm going to use this one right here. So we're going to get out this one, we're going to get out this one, and what sentiment? I'm going to do the thinking of you, and I know who that's going to. This set has pretty sentiments. Thinking of you with sympathy, friend, and sending hope and peace. And I really like these, but I also like that the cutout here is long, so it fits all of them. You just center it based on how long your sentiment is. But you can use this on some other stamps you already have, like maybe you want to send this to a birthday, which is what my mind is saying I want to do for my niece. Hers is next birthday. Oops, got a little gem on there. Okay, so let's do some stamping. And I'm using Pear Pizzazz. This is one of my older stamp pads, so it's always making me think, oh, is this color gonna survive the catalog refresh? I don't know. It's one of my older pads. You can tell by the style. All right, so that's the inside of my card. Let me set that aside. And then I'm gonna do this full branch. Now this doesn't show up a whole heck of a lot on your card, so if somehow you mess this up, don't fret. All right. Okay, let's get this on there. So this stamp is really pretty. I don't know if you can tell just by looking at the image, but there's areas that are darker and areas that are lighter, and it shows up really nicely with that ink. So I've got like some of the ginkgos are darker and lighter. That's not because I did a bad job getting ink on there. I mean, it could be, but it's not sometimes. But it's just because that's how the stamp is. And you can always tell that when you look at the image. If it looks like there's areas of dark and light, then that's what you're going to get on your stamp. Okay, so we got Pear Pizzazz done. And then I want to do on a scrap piece of soft sea foam, I'm going to do that Thinking of You. And I'm going to do that in gray. I actually need two, so I'm going to, I know I'm going to mail one out right away, so I'm going to make two while I'm at it. Okay. All right, our stamping is done. So now we're just going to put together, but I want to show you how to add detail to that cutout ginkgo. And for that, I'm going to grab my Pear Pizzazz and my water painter, my water brush. Already has water in it. And I'm just going to take this Pear Pizzazz. Let me find it. I just put it aside. Here it is. I don't want to get my paper ruined because I'm going to use it in another video later today. So I'm just going to throw down some sort of plastic or something. Okay. So I'm just going, I like to get ink inside the lids of all my colors because I use my ink to paint all the time. I love no-line watercolor stamping and I love just painting with my ink. So that's why there's always a mess in here. But if you don't like that, you can just take a block, one of your stamp blocks, and press it into the ink pad and then get some ink on there and color from there. Okay, so you're just going to get this good and wet, pick up some ink, and just kind of scribble across. And don't overthink it, because when you put it down on your paper, that's not, you're not going to say, oh, that's scribbled, because it's going to have stuff going on. There's going to be some layering of other things, and it just looks like some little darks and light highlights. Okay, that's it. I'm just scribbled so fast. Okay, it's just adding more texture to the card and adding a little more detail to the ginkgo. Okay, so now let's start putting together. We are going to add all these little layers. So I have this one goes on top of this one, and see, you can barely see it through there. And then I'm going to put that ginkgo branch on top, so you're going to see it even less. So don't stress, don't over stress about this. All right, and I want to not glue this down on top so much because I like the flowiness of it, and so I'm going to just use a piece of tear tape, or you can go down the side with a tape with your tape runner. This is sitting right here, and I don't know where my tape runner is right now. If I panned out, you would see the mess that is my desk. Okay. There we go. And then I want a little bit here. Oh, here's my tape runner. Found it. Okay. And let's see, which one? This one. I'm going to add this little, and I want to make sure I don't go too far. I got plenty of space. Let's give it a little more green. All right, now I need to trim because this was just a little scrap. All right, now I want to put some ribbon down before I attach it to my card. So I'm going to do that. In Stamp Camp, we used a white crinkle seam binding because I didn't think I had enough of this soft seed foam beautiful ribbon for 14 people. So I did not do it. It is gorgeous though. So let's use that. I'm going to put some adhesive down. And I'm going to do what I call a faux bow or a faux ribbon wrap. I'm not going to go all the way around. And the reason for that is because I don't have a lot of this left, but also I like to be able to kind of play around with where that bow ends up a little easier. So I'm just going to go and wrap the sides. And I'm going to stick it down. Let me put a little more adhesive on the edge there. Okay, I'm going to stick it down, and I'm going to bias it to the left, so just a little bit, like maybe 1/4 of an inch off the edge. Like that. But these are all still, this one is still flowy. I like that because I want it to, when people kind of open it, they can see that little peekaboo of ginkgo. Okay, so now we're going to layer on that piece that we watercolored. And for this, again, I don't want it to be laid down so tight that it doesn't have shadow and flowiness. So I'm only going to put adhesive in a couple spots. You can use a glue dot, you know, behind these areas where there's a little thicker bit. But that's it. I'm going to place this down. And then, same thing with the gold one. Now this one has some skinnier stems, so I might try to get these stems. Oops, got a little too much glue on there. Just going to get the stems to have adhesive on them. And then I'm going to put this down like so. Alright, and then for the inside, I'm going to, sometimes this is tricky, like see what I did here? This has got a big sharp angle, and this one's so skinny, like will it fit all the way down? It's going to be barely attached there, but that's okay, I'll attach it to the inside. So let me get this down. And I want to stay straight. I love the grid paper for that, because I don't want it to, you know, be on an angle, so I'm going to try to pull that out a little bit so that the end result is kind of still, you know, it's a straight rectangle. It's not going sideways on me. There. There's my inside. And then let's get that label on there and a bow, and it'll look beautiful. I'm going to cut my labels out. And we're done. What do you think? I hope you like it. It was a really fun one to do.